producers of this film would like to express that they in no manner wish to support or condone the words, phrases, and images such as ass, booty, yo bitch, Bush is a dickhead, and big butt women in tiny bikinis, which are used in this film. However, in an effort to maintain accuracy and journalistic integrity, words, phrases, and images such as ass, booty, yo bitch, Bush is a dickhead, and big butt women in tiny bikinis are necessary. But rest assured, the words, phrases, and images such as ass, booty, yo bitch, Bush is a dickhead, big butt women in tiny bikinis will not be used without warrant or in any gratuitous manner.
The inside.
For clothes that Tristan lost. At Bold 3 Detergent Plus Fabric Softener. Spray. Relief.
You two take care of labor.
Only intended for a plain cut.
You don't want to die of cold. Toll free.
Good evening. I'm Helen Mirren, and you're watching Documentary Now. For the past 50 years, Documentary Now has presented audiences with the world's most thought-provoking cinema. This season, to celebrate our golden anniversary, we take a look back at the films that helped shape, change, and innovate the world of documentary.
Handsome, charming, specially marked boxes of Monster cereals. No, inside one of these free wax lips, fangs, or mustaches, they just uncover the real you. We now continue with Smurf. All funky colors, shapes that swing.
It's impossible.
Game of double painting, and it is virtual.
And welcome back to Chatting Tonight. If you're just joining us, I've been chatting about this head cold that I can't seem to shake and how I kept putting off recording thinking that it would go away, all the while still attending the PR photo shoots for this episode, may I add. But since my sexy phlegm won't go away...
Fun! God, I love how sexy I am!
I just said, fuck it, let's roll. Tonight, we are going to take a look at one of my most beloved genres of film, the mockumentary. What is a mockumentary, you may ask yourself, and have I seen one? The mockumentary is a work of fiction that is presented in the style of a documentary. Its linguistic roots lie in the conjunction of the words mock and documentary. Filmmakers have used the mockumentary format to criticize, satirize, and generally make fun of various subjects. You could even say that mockumentaries refuse to let us look away from our most cherished notions about reality. And yes, of course, you've seen one. Now, most film critics, writers, literati, etc. say that The War of the Worlds by Orson Welles counts as a mockumentary. I humbly disagree. In my view, the tongue-in-cheek nature of the film should always be comedy. So guess what? We ain't talking about it. And I think that Orson would agree. He and I are actually very close. Orson?
This is Orson Welles, ladies and gentlemen. Out of character, to assure you that the War of the Worlds has no further significance than as the holiday offering it was intended to be. The Mercury Theater's own radio version of dressing up in a sheet and jumping out of a bush and saying boo. Starting now, we couldn't soap all your windows and steal all your garden gates by tomorrow night, so we did the best next thing. We annihilated the world before your very ears and utterly destroyed the CBS. You will be relieved, I hope, to learn that we didn't mean it and that both institutions are still open for business. So goodbye, everybody, and remember, please, for the next day or so, the terrible lesson you learned tonight. That grinning, glowing, globular invader of your living room is an inhabitant of the pumpkin patch, and if your doorbell rings and nobody's there, that was no Martian, It's Halloween.
So let's jump ahead almost 20 years and talk about the BBC's Swiss spaghetti harvest from 1957. This is regarded by many as the film that began the mockumentary movement. And on this point, I will agree.
It isn't only in Britain that spring this year has taken everyone by surprise. Here, in the Ticino, on the borders of Switzerland and Italy, the slopes overlooking Lake Lugano have already burst into flower, at least a fortnight earlier than usual. But what, you may ask, has the early and welcome arrival of bees and blossom to do with food? Well, it's simply that the past winter, one of the mildest in living memory, has had its effect in other ways as well. Most important of all, it's resulted in an exceptionally heavy spaghetti crop. The last 2 weeks of March are an anxious time for the spaghetti farmer. There's always the chance of a late frost, which, while not entirely ruining the crop, generally impairs the flavor and makes it difficult for him to obtain top prices in world markets. But now these dangers are over, and the spaghetti harvest goes forward. Spaghetti cultivation here in Switzerland is not, of course, carried out on anything like the tremendous scale of the Italian industry. Many of you, I'm sure, will have seen pictures of the vast spaghetti plantations in the Po Valley. For the Swiss, however, it tends to be more of a family affair. Another reason why this may be a bumper year lies in the virtual disappearance of the spaghetti weevil, the tiny creature whose depredations have caused much concern in the past. After picking, the spaghetti is laid out to dry in the warm alpine sun. Many people are often puzzled by the fact that spaghetti is produced at such uniform length. But this is the result of many years of patient endeavor by plant breeders who've succeeded in producing the perfect spaghetti. And now, the harvest is marked by a traditional meal. Toasts to the new crop are drunk in these poccolinos, and then the waiters enter bearing the ceremonial dish. And it is, of course, spaghetti, picked earlier in the day, dried in the sun, and so brought fresh from garden to table at the very peak of condition. For those who love this dish, there's nothing like real homegrown spaghetti.
As Thomas Daugherty wrote, fake docs, mock docs, bogus docs, and periodic send-ups, shameless frauds, and sundry filmic forgeries have been with us for a long time. And because mockumentaries can include anything from flat-out hoaxes to political satire, the genre's beginnings have been hard to pinpoint. As I said earlier, many attribute the War of the Worlds from 1938 as one of the first, but the honor could also go to director Georges Méliès. And when I can't pronounce things in French, I just add a terribly bad French accent to make it seem legit, whose reconstructed newsreels made up 1899's The Dreyfus Affair. But it's clear that the mockumentary isn't going anywhere, partly because of its capaciousness. I mean, what other genre could include musical parodies like This Is Spinal Tap and Fear of a Black Hat, alongside social critiques like Kevin Wilmot's Confederate States of America, which imagines an America where the South won the Civil War. As Cynthia Miller wrote in her book, Too Bold for the Box Office, the mockumentary from big screen to small, which is an assemblage of essays by scholars and filmmakers who examine this unique cinematic form, the discomfort is core to the mockumentary. It is through that discomfort that we, as both audience and subject, reflect on our norms, values, ideologies, and ways of being. There is also a sense of realness, even as the visuals lean to the ridiculous. As we heard in the 1957 April Fool's newsreel, The Swiss Spaghetti Harvest, it showed Swiss farmers picking strands of spaghetti from trees. And while most viewers understood the impossibility of what they were seeing, the program did elicit hundreds of calls seeking to verify the story's authenticity and to obtain instructions for cultivating spaghetti trees in England. Overall, what this form has done is to challenge viewers with a slightly skewed, but somehow all too real vision of a society that looks a lot like our own. That odd mix of, this can't be real, and I could totally see this happening, is part of why the genre has endured. We watch to understand ourselves, our society, and how we interact with each other. Part real, part fake, mockumentaries may be, as Miller writes, a kind of truth. Just not the truth we were after. Moving on, and using the New York Film Academy article from 2015 entitled The History of the Mockumentary Art Form as our sort of peripheral guide, we learned that it wasn't until the 60s that we saw anything approaching what we currently know as the mockumentary feature, and that came in the form of A Hard Day's Night, which served as a strong precursor to This Is Spinal Tap. And I imagine the Ruttles, even though it's not in this article. The format and writing really resonated at the time with the legion of Beatles fans who were afforded an inside look, albeit tongue-in-cheek and scripted, at the quartet's everyday lives, and its appeal has endured, frequently being named as one of the most influential music films ever produced. With the momentum of the mockumentary art form now building, few more titles embrace the style. Namely, the extremely meta David Holzman's Diary from 1967 and the forgettable Pat Paulson for President in 1968. But it was Woody Allen who took the ball and ran with it, pushing the genre to new heights with 1963's Take the Money and Run, and later with 1983's Zelig. And then along came Christopher Guest, the grandfather of the improvisational mockumentary. Directed by Rob Reiner and co-written with Guest along with Michael McKean and Harry Shearer, the 1984 masterpiece This Is Spinal Tap changed the game forever and arguably hasn't been topped since. There's not much more to be written about the comic and cinematography genius that hasn't already been stated over the past 3 decades since its release, save for another recommendation to immediately go and watch it if you haven't already. A few mockumentaries have tried to turn the dial to 11 since then, to varying degrees of success. Sacha Baron Cohen put a fresh spin on the genre and brought it to a new age with Borat, at the same time pushing the limits of how awkward and cringeworthy unleashing a character actor into real-world settings can be. But proving you can have too much of a good thing, his subsequent efforts, Bruno and The Dictator, failed to capitalize on the format Cohen invented. When it comes to television, however, the mockumentary genre has flourished with some seminal titles coming particularly out of Britain. The Office revolutionized the genre for the medium and spawned many international versions, and many heralded the black comedy spoof news series Brass Eye as being the pinnacle of satirical TV news. I guess the authors of this article have forgotten about HBO's groundbreaking Not Necessarily the News. Going forward, however, it's the mockumentary series Documentary Now, which looks to having the spoof TV crown going back to America. Written by notable Saturday Night alumni Seth Meyers, Bill Hader, and Fred Armisen, and inspired by the likes of Spinal Tap, though intentionally trying not to mirror it, the show recently wrapped up a successful 4th season that included such documentary punching bags as a parody of Nanook of the North and a lampooning of Vice's journalistic practices, which frankly cannot be lampooned enough. Season 1 also gave us the preeminent parody of Grey Gardens entitled Sandy Passages with Big and Little Vivi.
I'm going to show you one of my favorite rooms in the house. Look at this. We have our own stage. Isn't it beautiful? This is where I first learned to dance. I have memories of...
Yeah, Vivi! Oh my God, downstairs, go, go, go! She went all the way through. Vivi.
What did you do? What happened?
I fell through the floor again.
Oh. It's because you stopped.
I don't stop.
I'm always telling you. You got floor all in my lima beans.
Now, dear listeners, before we delve into the lists, of which I have aplenty, as well as the clips, of which I have a few, and how do I say this, a slight foray into my dedication as well as recommendations, let's just take a moment to hear from a couple of tonight's Chatting Tonight Clubhouse sponsors.
Hello and welcome back to coverage of people buying a house and then living in it. So, hello Jeff, you want to buy a house. Here's a house, what do you think?
Yeah.
Do you like the house?
Yes, fine.
Will Jeff be able to buy the house that's fine of his dreams? Yes, he will. It's in budget, is it, Jeff?
Yeah.
That was not a close one.
No.
We'll be catching up with Jeff when he's bought his house, which is now. Jeff, you're now living in your house.
Yeah.
What's that like?
It's alright, doing a bit of DIY, putting some shelves up, but nothing major.
We'll be catching up with Jeff's attempts to live his having things on shelves dreams now. How are the shelves?
Useful.
Well, that's fascinating. So, to sum up, Jeff, who you don't know, has bought a house and is now living in it, having put up some shelves, and I think we can all agree that that's basically a good thing. Join me next week when I'll be presenting coverage of people arranging to rent a flat and then going to the shop to buy some food to eat in it.
New from Solge, the high seas sea salt Poseidon, featuring a moon phase indicator, chronograph, and fine sea salt grinder, all in a sleek and stylish stainless steel polished case with crocodile skin bands. Whether sailing around the world, braving the rough seas, or just a night out in town, a watch for the everyman. Poseidon by Solge.
That wasn't so painful, was it? I mean, think about it this way. Unlike some other podcasts that are plagued with popularity, corporate sponsorships, /percentage offs, or the ability to achieve 1,000 unique downloads every 30 days per Spotify's new rules for sponsored ads, I am afforded the luxury of having as many fake commercials as I can muster. And how fitting to have fake ads for an episode on mockumentaries. You are welcome. All right, we have reached the point in the episode that all of you film addicts, movie buffs, cinephiles, mocku junkies have been waiting for. The lists. Not the lisps, the lists. And if you want to get on the interwebs and peruse, you will find a plethora of lists. I've only chosen 4 for the sake of brevity. I've used MovieWeb, Yardbarker, Ranker, and the Maisels Mockumentary Center. Who are the Maisels, you ask? Pointedly, if I do say so myself. Well, I'll tell you.
It's the Maisels.
Hi, Edie. The gentleman callers.
I saw your car. One of my cats just
Edie, you
jumped
look
out.
fantastic.
David, you look absolutely terrific. Honestly, you've got light blue on. Well, Al, you're still. Mother says you're very conservative.
And that, my friends, is the Maisels. And let's start with them, as they provide us with a list of classic and lesser-known mockumentaries. And it also works out to be alphabetical, which I know some of you will appreciate. The Maisels list starts with the perennial favorite, Waiting for Guffman. We move on to Full Tilt Boogie. Quentin Tarantino and George Clooney star alongside their entire crew in this semi-fictitious account of the making of the cult classic From Dusk Till Dawn. This is Spinal Tap, Death of a President. Tanner 88, a political satire series directed by Robert Altman and released on HBO, leading up to the 1988 presidential election that follows the campaign of Democrat Robert Tanner, starring a young Cynthia Nixon and complete with a very catchy theme song, Exercise Your Right to Vote. I Clowns, or The Clowns, it depends on how you want to say it. Incident at Loch Ness, Man Bites Dog, and finally, Dave Holzman's Diary. A video diary by a fictional cinephile, this micro-budget film plays with the idea of the regularness of the people and approaches of experimental films. From an article dated March of 2023, MovieWeb.com dares for greatness with the title, The 19 Most Influential Mockumentaries of All Time. And while I'm not going to read the beginning paragraphs because we are covering a lot of the same ground, I do want to give a quick shout out to Mike for using the word portmanteau. Brava. Starting at number 19, we have The Last Polka. An early made-for-cable HBO film, The Last Polka caught John Candy, Rick Moranis, Eugene Levy, and Catherine O'Hara early in their ascendance, while they were still bridging SCTV into shows and films for American television. The Last Polka spoofs Martin Scorsese's The Last Waltz, a concert film about the final show for legendary Canadian-American rock group The Band. Here, the shift was making a documentary that profiled a polka ensemble. In their last act, the comedy duo was created for an SCTV sketch, making this an early attempt at franchising sketch characters into a feature format, albeit for cable TV. Between this film and Weird Al Yankovic's Au revoir, we learned over the years that polka and comedy are like peas and carrots. Number 18, A Mighty Wind. Christopher Guest has had several of the most successful mockumentaries comedy-wise, and was deep into his bag when he made A Mighty Wind. Like The Last Polka, A Mighty Wind incorporates music to hilarious effect, profiling a number of folk music groups like the Folksmen and Mitch and Mickey, lampooning these gentle, peace-loving tree-huggers. Highlights include fake interviews with John Michael Higgins as porn star turned folkie Terry Boner, and Harry Shearer in one of his funniest performances outside of The Simpsons. What's so enjoyable about Christopher Guest's work, and this film in particular, is the amount of improvisation by this group of comedy Avengers. You can imagine the laughs between takes and how collaborative a working environment it is when these improv heavyweights coalesced. Number 17, The Incident at Loch Ness. Besides some high-profile writing credits for superhero films like The Incredible Hulk and The Avengers, Zach Penn has a penchant for making experimental mockumentaries like Incident at Loch Ness. In this case, the film is an innovative approach that mimics a real-life documentary searching for the Loch Ness Monster. Penn made it unclear to participants, like director Werner Herzog, what the nature of the film was, as Herzog was possibly making his own documentary on the subject. The competing narratives can make your head spin, but some suspenseful comedic moments and hilarious practical effects bring the movie to life. Number 16, District 9. Neil Blomkamp's 2009 science fiction film District 9 mixes found footage, newsreels, and security cameras to create a God's eye view of a high-tech action film. Producer Peter Jackson brought big-budget know-how from his storied career making the Lord of the Rings franchise, elevating Blomkamp's cyberpunk robotic designs. This film is set in 1982 in South Africa during an invasion of aliens who are restricted to camps that smack of the West Bank and apartheid-era slums in Johannesburg. The film's unique take on invasion films and its inventive technique for using different types of cameras to create a fly-on-the-wall experience kept the spirit of mockumentary alive in the film if the subject happened to diverge from typical features of this type. Number 15, CB4. Chris Rock got his first leading role playing an Eazy-E spoof rapper named MC Gusto in the off-the-wall comedy CB4. The film essentially took the Spinal Tap format of a fake rock doc and injected some gangster rap comedy. Rock's character is actually a suburbanite kid who creates the rapping character to generate enough street cred for the group to take off. Hilarious slapstick and appearances by Charlie Murphy and Phil Hartman helped the movie along. The film highlights are live performances of spoof NWA songs like Straight Outta Low Cash and amazing 90s celebrity cameos from Shaquille O'Neal and Halle Berry. Number 14, Best in Show. Another of Christopher Guest's mock-you masterpieces, Best in Show has built-in laughs with a fake doc about the Mayflower Kennel Club dog show and the wacky dog breeders who enter their beloved canines. Jennifer Coolidge gives one of her always great performances as Sherry Ann Cabot, though it would be another 20 or so years until The White Lotus got her wider notice. Parker Posey's turn as a distraught dog mom who has her Weimaraner in family therapy gives us the movie's tragicomic apex for these obsessive dog owners. A rewatch will surely make you mourn the passing of Fred Willard as a Bob Uecker-esque color commentator for the sporting event. Willard was one of those comedic actors never properly appreciated during his time, and Guest's film show all of his brilliance and comedic timing at its peak. Number 13, The Grand. The Grand didn't exactly yield the greatest viewing experience, particularly if you saw it in theaters, but deserves inclusion here for Zach Penn's unique experimental approach to mockumentary. This all-star cast, including Woody Harrelson and David Cross, were given basic outlines of their characters and then asked to play a real-life poker tournament against one another and some famous card sharks, while completely improvising their scenes. Penn was truly ambitious to attempt this, and the movie's enduring quality is seeing these acting heavyweights essentially doing an improv sketch for 2 hours. Ironically, director Werner Herzog ended up with the funniest performance playing the film's villain, the German, to hilarious effect. Number 12, Bruno. Sacha Baron Cohen's Man with a Microphone routine has yielded more cringeworthy laughs than maybe any other actor to use the format of mockumentary. With Bruno, born out of the Ali G show, he seemed hell-bent on offending anybody who dared to get in front of his mic. Still, there is a method to his madness, and Baron Cohen's genius is using his comedy to expose people for their bigotry. In this case, he destroys the fashion industry in Hollywood, getting one fashion show attendee to say that designers are more important than doctors, then getting Paula Abdul to agree to sit on some chair people for an interview before nearly eating sushi off of one of them. We're led to conclude that this is the type of self-indulgence and narcissism we should expect from the wealthy and famous. If you can stand the discomfort, this is one of Baron Cohen's best. Number 11, The Ruttles. The brainchild of Monty Python member Eric Idle, The Ruttles was a made-for-TV film lampooning England's most famous band, the Beatles, with a series of side-splitting sketches that called to light plenty of rock star hypocrisy. What's ironic in retrospect is the fact that the fictionalized versions of the Sgt. Pepper musicians weren't that far off from the extrovergent lives of the real-life band. The film gives us some of the greatest cameos ever in a comedy, from the likes of Mick Jagger and performances by SNL cast members John Belushi, Bill Murray, and Dan Aykroyd, who were early in their ascendance to massive fame and acclaim. Number 10, Bob Roberts. The rare mockumentary about politics, Bob Roberts, seems to become more relevant with every passing year, as Tim Robbins' conservative Republican character seems prescient as it now relates to Trump-era politics and their racial and economic implications. It's always a good watch during election season, and Veep has borrowed heavily from this film's approach, which caught a young Tim Robbins during his incredible early 90s run of films, including The Hudsucker Proxy and The Shawshank Redemption. Bob Roberts puts a mirror to American politics, riffing on crossover politicians, seemingly based on Ronald Reagan, who signaled a changing of the guard when voting became more about popularity and likability than political platforms. In this case, truth is stranger than fiction, as the last decade's worth of real-life election seasons have and made Bob Roberts seem comparatively tame. Number 9, What We Do in the Shadows. What We Do in the Shadows is a leading example of the many mockumentaries that spoof genre films, in this case the vampire movies and shows that saw a resurgence after Twilight and True Blood brought them back to the fore in the 2000s. Jermaine Clement of Flight of the Conchords fame was already a proven comedic commodity, but few movie watchers outside of New Zealand knew about the immense talents of Taika Waititi, until this film found a cult following among American audiences. He co-wrote and co-directed the film with Clement and provides the movie's funniest moments in his acting performance as the vampire Viaggio. Within a few years, this film got franchised into a series, and he was directing Thor, becoming one of the most sought-after directors in Hollywood, and yet I still don't know how to pronounce the name. Number 8, Borat. Not enough has been said about Sacha Baron Cohen's acting skill over the years, specifically his ability to keep in character during real-life interactions while producing some of the funniest interview moments of the last 2 decades. His background in clown school may account for that talent, which was put to its greatest test in Borat, as the actor duped unsuspecting Americans into believing they were truly talking to a Kazakh reporter. In the process, he highlighted issues from anti-Semitism to American patriarchal jingoism in a way that no other actor on planet Earth could. His guerrilla filmmaking tactics produced one of the funniest and arguably most experimental approaches to mockumentary, essentially combining it with varied to uproarious laughter from audiences worldwide. Number 7, Fear of a Black Hat. Rusty Kundiev used the language of This Is Spinal Tap to create his own rap-laced version of a music mockumentary with Fear of a Black Hat. The film parodies socio-political rap groups like Public Enemy, simultaneously undermining them with a rap group whose cause celeb is big hats. The absurdism is the movie's greatest quality, and it was refreshing to see mockumentary brought to rap music for the first time, with the director parlaying the cult film into the Tales from the Hood franchise and some notable work on Chappelle's Show. Number 6, Man Bites Dog. Sometimes mockumentaries can get pretty dark, and Man Bites Dog fits squarely into that category. The Belgian film follows a serial killer along his murderous path, presented as a documentary and challenging the audience's notions about what can and should be satirized. This is a film that is, at times, borderline offensive, but deserves inclusion here for a completely innovative approach to a mockumentary. It was rare back then for a comedy to ever get an NC-17 rating, owing to the differing sensibilities between American and European audiences at the time, and it may have been its presentation as a slice of reality that frayed censors' notions of which foreign films were palatable at the time for American movie audiences. Number 5, Real Life. Albert Brooks has long pushed the boundaries of comedy writing and performance, here breaking the fourth wall and then some with Real Life, a mockumentary spoofing docs that try to enter the intimate world of a family's home life. The film was panned by critics at the time, but has since found a cult following for all its comedic layers and the juxtaposition of roles in front of and behind the lens. Brooks alludes to Fellini's I Clowns by donning a clown costume for much of the picture, becoming a costume symbol of his character's filmmaking impotence. The film's crescendo, Brooks' last-ditch effort to make an exciting ending for his documentary, is one of the most hilariously performed scenes in the actor's career. Number 4, Drop Dead Gorgeous. Beauty pageants have served as the battleground for many a classic comedy, and Drop Dead Gorgeous ranks high among them as a mockumentary with a powerhouse cast of actresses. The film was Amy Adams' debut, ironic given how she later developed into an actor mostly known for her dramatic roles, but the film was memorable for a beyond-her-years performance from a young Kristen Dunst playing Amber, an aspiring pageant contestant traversing the pitfalls of the film's cutthroat universe. The movie was definitely inspired by Christopher Guest's work, but adds a lot more plot and action to the format, and is bittersweet to rewatch given the standout performances from Gone Too Soon actors Brittany Murphy and Kirstie Alley. Number 3, Waiting for Guffman. Christopher Guest's greatest film and funniest performance as an actor came in 1996 with the release of Waiting for Guffman, which wrote the book on the modern mockumentary. The film is set in the fictional town of Blaine, whose inhabitants are played by Guest's regular cast of characters, all of whom are outshone by Guest's side-splitting performance as Corky St. Clair. The comedic ensemble play Blaine town residents aspiring to put on a musical about the town's history, and the film is essentially a parable about unrealistically aspirant theater folk who dream of leaving their dental practices and Dairy Queen jobs to make it to Broadway. Nearly the entire cast were working character actors at the time, who clearly had a ton of familiarity with Broadway wannabes. Number 2, The Clowns. Federico Fellini's The Clowns is by some measures the first mockumentary film. Rather than focusing merely on comedy, the film is part memoir, part clown documentary, and part fictional manifestation of Fellini's real-life musings on the dying art form and death itself. It was Fellini's first experiment in combining these different modes of filmmaking into a single feature. Fellini inserts himself into the film as a director documenting the art form's remaining practitioners, outsider artists with collapsing lives and an impending sense of doom. The fact that every mockumentary made since hasn't even approached the amount of experimentation present in this masterpiece is a testament to Fellini's brilliance and disregard for his audience and critics. While clowns have become integral to the horror genre, in 1970, Fellini was using them as a symbol of decay and future generations' abandonment of their forebears. Number 1. This is Spinal Tap. Rob Reiner enjoyed a successful acting career for about 15 years prior to his bold directorial debut, This is Spinal Tap, which gobbled up influences like Monty Python's Flying Circus and rock movies like The Last Waltz to parody the insanity of a touring metal band. Christopher Guest clearly discovered his penchant for the genre here and gets most of the film's best scenes and lines, including his famous math lesson on amps that go to 11. The film's absurdist approach to the vanity and insanity of rock stardom made it easily the most influential mockumentary in the comedy realm. Its DNA can be seen to this day in the work of comedic artists like Cohen and, Watatiti? I am so sorry, New Zealand, and strewn throughout nearly every comedy series from The Office to 30 Rock. Ranker gives us a list of the best mockumentary movies, and these were ranked by film fan voices. They start at the greatest mockumentary of all time, and we work our way down. Now, I'm not going to give you descriptions of the ones that we've already done, but I will give you little descriptions of ones that we haven't talked about in case you might be interested in seeing them. Number 1, This is Spinal Tap. Number 2, Best in Show. Number 3, Waiting for Guffman. Number 4, Fear of a Black Hat. Number 5, Dill Scallion. Aspiring country singer Dill Scallion, played by Billy Burke, scores a hit with a song called You Shared You, based on his morally loose girlfriend Tina, played by Kathy Griffin. Dill moves from small-town Texas to the bright lights of Nashville, Tennessee, and takes up with local schemer Christy Sue, played by Lauren Graham, and star producer Larry Steinberg, played by Henry Winkler. But his signature dance, the Scallion's Shuffle, is a quirk that just might be an unwelcome wrinkle in Dill's rags-to-riches story. Number 6, CSA, the Confederate States of America. In mockumentary format, director Kevin Wilmot examines an alternate world in which the Confederates won the American Civil War to establish the Confederate States of America, a land that celebrates the practice and institution of slavery and racism. Following British documentarians as they interview several historians, politicians, and other inhabitants of the Confederacy and neighboring Canada, Wilmot has his protagonists delve into the history and events that led to this new modern day. Number 7, The Ruddles. Number 8, Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon. Nice, normal-looking Leslie Vernon, played by Nathan Basil, has an obsession with movie-style slashers like Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees, and Freddy Krueger. Leslie decides to follow in the footsteps of his heroes, and ever the self-promoter invites a documentary filmmaker and her crew to follow him around as he constructs his own grisly legacy. Number 9, A Mighty Wind. Number 10, Borat. Number 11, We Make Movies. Number 12, Drop Dead Gorgeous. Number 13, For Your Consideration. The possibility of Oscar gold holds the cast and crew of an independent film in its grip after the performance of its virtually unknown veteran star Catherine O'Hara generates award buzz. Though the movie in question, Home for Purim, is impossibly awful, the rumors of future nominations snowball and attract the attention of a distributor who wants to make a few minor changes. Number 14, Comic Book, The Movie. Hired as a consultant on a movie about one of his favorite characters, a lifelong comic fan, Mark Hamill, accompanies a film crew to San Diego's famous Comic-Con. Number 15, Bob Roberts. Number 16, Incident at Loch Ness. Number 18, I'm Still Here. Director Casey Affleck follows Joaquin Phoenix as he carries out a plan to retire from acting and concentrate on a new career as a hip-hop musician.
Have you noticed the change in me, dude? Is it incredible? Since I retired, I don't worry about anything anymore. I need to do a fucking show. I need to get out there and do it for real. Do the snow angel, dude. I can reach you. Do the snow angel. Do the fucking snow angel. Dude, do the fucking snow angel. Do the snow angel there. Do the fucking snow angel, dude. Do the fucking snow angel. Do Dude, look at mine. Look at mine. Look at mine, dude. That's bad. Huh? You're fine. Dude, you only have wings. This angel doesn't have fucking legs. Look, you're having... That's a funny bit. You know what? The big YouTube video is just a little midget Indian being like, what you think? They think everything is funny. Have you seen their shows? And there's one. I wish I remember what the fucking song was. It's fucking genius. Get you want to be done like it do that. They're so funny. And the thing is, they think they're funny and they don't even hear how they sound. They don't have accent sounds normal. And the clothes look normal. They still think it's funny. It's totally funny for us.
Number 19, CB4. Number 20, Mr. America. Mr. America is a 2019 American comedy film directed by Eric Nadamakola, based on the video series On Cinema at the Cinema. Tim Heidecker plays a fictionalized version of himself as he sets his sights on becoming the next district attorney of San Bernardino County. Number 21, Cannibal Holocaust. Cannibal Holocaust is a 1980 Italian cannibal film directed by Ruggero Deodato from a screenplay by Gianfranco Clerici. Are you kidding? Starring Carl Gabriel York, Robert Kerman, Francesca Chiardi, and Luca Giorgio Barbareschi. Influenced by the works of Mondo, director, forget it. The film was inspired by Italian media coverage of Red Brigade terrorism. The coverage included news reports Deodato believed to be staged, an idea which became an integral aspect of the film's story. Cannibal Holocaust was filmed primarily in the Amazon rainforest, with real indigenous tribes interacting with American and Italian actors. The film tells the story of a missing documentary film crew who had gone to the Amazon to film cannibal tribes. A rescue mission, led by the New York University anthropologist Harold Monroe, recovers the film crew's lost cans of film, which an American television station wishes to broadcast. Upon viewing the reels, Monroe is appalled by the team's actions, and after learning their fate, he objects to the station's intent to air the documentary. Number 22. The Mating Habits of the Earthbound Human. In this mockumentary, an observant alien reveals the bizarre and hilarious truth about human dating rituals and relationships. The alien, David Hyde Pierce, focuses on two young people who meet in a Los Angeles nightclub. As the male, Mackenzie Aston, and the female, Carmen Electra, embark upon their new relationship, the alien documents candid moments from their courtship, offering up anthropological commentary and analysis along the way. Number 23. Take the money and run. Number 24, Brothers of the Head. Untalented but charismatic conjoined twins Barry, played by Harry Treadway, and Tom, played by Luke Treadway Howe, become rock stars in 1970s England until the usual perils of fame, drugs, alcohol, and women create dissension. File footage and interviews chronicle the brothers' rise and fall. This is amazing. Number 25, Muffin Man. This is all it says. Muffin Man is a 2003 comedy film directed, produced, and written by Jessica Eisner. Number 26, American Zombie. American Zombie is a 2007 film directed by Grace Lee. Number 27, Bad Trip. Hidden cameras capture two best friends pulling hilarious and inventive pranks on an unsuspecting public. Number 28, Death of a President. Documentary filmmakers recount the events leading up to and following the fictionalized assassination of President George W. Bush in 2007. Jamal Abu Kakiri, a Syrian national, is hastily fingered as the main suspect, and President Dick Cheney expands governmental power to fight terrorism at home with Patriot Act 3. But as Kakiri stands trial for the crime, another credible suspect looms into view. Number 29, The Grand. Number 30, Alien Autopsy. Alien Autopsy is a 2006 British comedy film with elements of science fiction. Directed by Johnny Campbell, written by William Davies, it relates the events surrounding the famous Alien Autopsy film promoted by Ray Santilli and stars Ant McPartlin and Declan Donnelly, also known as Ant and Dec. The film was a moderate commercial success domestically, making number 3 on the British box office chart. Number 31, The Nowhere Inn. Two creative forces band together to make a documentary about St. Vincent's music and life. However, they soon discover unpredictable forces lurking within subject and filmmaker that threatens to derail their friendship and the project. Number 32, The Independent. This mockumentary explores the career of independent filmmaker Morty Feynman, Jerry Stiller, responsible for over 400 movies. Feynman faces mounting debt, but puts his heart and remaining money into a feature film about a serial killer. He contracts his daughter, Paloma, Janine Garofalo, to work for him, after which he tries to obtain the rights to the killer's tale. The only caveat is that the film must be a musical. Feynman, Paloma, and assistant Irving embark on this strange quest. Number 33, Confessions of a Porn Addict. Literally no description. Number 34, Gamers, the Movie. Gamers, the Movie is an independent 2006 mockumentary film written, directed, and produced by Chris Foligno. The film follows 4 friends who, saddled with the 4 worst jobs known to man, attempt to set the world record for playing Demons, Nymphs, and Dragons, a Dungeons and Dragons-like game. Filmed in only 6 days and entirely self-financed with $60,000 from credit cards, the film featured several 80s stars in supporting roles: Kelly LeBrock, Beverly D'Angelo, and William Catt. The soundtrack includes songs by Loverboy and other 80s bands. Indie film websites, Indie Film Nation, and Bumscorner.com named Gamers the best film of 2006. It also received the award for Best Screenplay at the 2006 Melbourne Underground Film Festival. Number 35, Surf's Up. Surfing means everything to teenage penguin Cody Maverick, played by Shia LaBeouf. Followed by a documentary film crew, he leaves his home in Antarctica for Pinju Island, site of the Big Z Memorial Surf-Off. Cody wants to be respected and admired, and he believes that winning the competition will bring him what he craves. However, an encounter with washed-up surfer Geek, played by Jeff Bridges, teaches Cody about what is truly important. Number 36, Danny Rohn, first-time director. Danny Rohn, First-Time Director, is a 2006 comedy film written, directed, and starring Andy Dick, Jack Black, and Mo Collins. This independent production is a documentary mixed with a mockumentary on Dick's struggle on making a film. Number 37, Welcome to Hollywood. Welcome to Hollywood is a mockumentary about a young man trying to make it in Hollywood as an actor. Tony Marks is the young man trying to pursue the means to become an actor. Various attempts to get him noticed and in roles in film and television fail. When he finally does get a break and gets a guest spot on Baywatch, ends with disaster as the actor steps on a stingray and has to be hospitalized. The film has appearances from numerous actors, actresses, producers, models, athletes, and other Hollywood figures. Number 38, Ed TV. In a desperate attempt to boost ratings, a cable channel decides to document the life of someone on a daily basis and air the footage as a show. That lucky someone turns out to be Ed Pecumi, played by Matthew McConaughey, a laid-back video store clerk. While the TV series makes Ed an overnight celebrity, it also begins to wreak havoc on his personal life, complicating his relationship with his new girlfriend, Sherry, played by Jenna Elfman, and causing tension with his brother, Ray, played by Woody Harrelson. And finally, we have number 39, National Lampoon's Totally Baked, a potumentary. That's literally all it says about it, so it must be fantastic. Yard Barker gives us 20 of the best mockumentaries of all time. Starting with number 20, Borat, subsequent movie film from 2020. We'll talk about the 2006 classic Borat film that started this all, but his 2020 sequel generated enough buzz. Our favorite journalist and television star from Kazakhstan returned to have a little fun with some prominent international figures. Most notable is former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani. That generated plenty of buzz during the run-up to the 2020 election and drew plenty of attention to a movie that's good for plenty of laughs. Number 19, get ready to be boys voiced. We head to Norway for a highly underrated mock that is literally foreign to most fans of this genre. Get Ready to Be Boys' Voice follows boy band Boys' Voice and its undertalented frontman M. Star Pete, which found itself embroiled in a scandal and tried to save face and regain popularity. There are plenty of fun poking moments in the boy band genre, and the main character shines bright in the lead role. Number 18, The Last Polka. Number 17, Mike Bassett, England manager. Irishman Steve Barron made his name directing massively popular music videos such as Billie Jean and Money for Nothing. With his satirical take on the misery and often dysfunction known as England's national soccer team, it's entertaining enough to make this list. Bassett, a lower division manager, is surprisingly brought in to coach the team as it earns a World Cup spot based on a technicality. The in-depth behind-the-scenes look of the film is funny enough. Ricky Tomlinson is quite good in the lead role. Number 16, The Ruddles. Number 15, 7 Days in Hell. Director Jake Szymanski has enjoyed success in the mockumentary scene. This film starred former Saturday Night Live and Brooklyn Nine-Nine star Sandberg. Like an HBO sports documentary, the film hilariously follows tennis foes Aaron Williams, played by Sandberg, the former orphaned turned the sports bad boy, and child prodigy Charles Poole, played by Kit Harington, and their fictional, historic Wimbledon match that goes on for days.
Well, Caspian Wind could be a bit of a rapscallion.
That guy was a creep. Nobody liked him.
Why do you smell like fire? Because I rage inside, like a furnace.
Number 14, Tour de Pharmacy. More from Jake Szymanski and Andy Samberg 2 years after 7 Days in Hell. This time they tackle the world of competitive cycling, more specifically, the fictional events surrounding the 1982 Tour de France and obvious doping among the competitors, thus leaving those clean athletes to compete in the race. Orlando Bloom is solid as Italian cyclist Juju Pepi, along with Samberg as Marty Haas. Big-time stars like Jeff Goldblum and Julia Ormond, as well as cameos by disgraced American cyclist Lance Armstrong, provide the movie's best moments. Number 13, Mascots. Our first foray into the mind of Christopher Guest, who has directed some of the most renowned and beloved mockumentaries of all time. Mascots, which starred Guest regulars Jane Lynch, Parker Posey, Bob Balaban, and the late Fred Willard, followed the lives of fictional sports mascots competing for the prestigious Gold Fluffy Award. Mascots might not have enjoyed the high level of acclaim or popularity as Guest's other works, but it is still worth viewing. Number 12, Surf's Up. Number 11, Bob Roberts. Number 10, Bruno. Number 9, Fear of a Black Hat. Number 8, Popstar, Never Stop Stopping. Andy Samberg is once again featured. He played Connor Friel, the leader of pop rappers The Style Boys. After his band breaks up, Connor goes solo and the fun begins. Fellow Saturday Night alums Maya Rudolph and Tim Meadows also star in a fun film that Samberg co-wrote, and Judd Apatow serves as one of the producers. Number 7, For Your Consideration. Number 6, Borat, Cultural Learnings of America for Make Benefit Glorious Nation of Kazakhstan. Number 5, Waiting for Guffman. Number 4, Drop Dead Gorgeous. Number 3, A Mighty Wind. Number 2, This is Spinal Tap. And number 1, Best in Show.
Now it's time for a breakdown.
Never gonna get it, 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 never gonna get it. Whoa, 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 whoa. Never gonna get it, 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 never get it.
Well, except you are gonna get it, and it's less of a breakdown and more of a rundown. Although, frankly, I did almost have a little bit of a breakdown when I went to see the full list of mockumentaries. Now, I don't know if you've looked to see this expansive list of mockumentaries available to watch, but oh my fucking God, it's a lot. And, of course, I've included all the links known to man in the episode description. Again, there is a lot, okay? And you know me and my need to be thorough, this compulsive need. So here's my list of what I watched or tried to watch to make the most comprehensive episode. As comprehensive as I felt like, let's be honest. Editor's note, all of these movies are available on HBO, Netflix, Pluto TV, and a majority of them are available on Tubi with limited commercial interruptions. And if I dealt with it, so can you. Let us start out the list with the movies that we covered most throughout this episode. So, of course, I watched Waiting for Guffman, Best in Show, A Mighty Wind, Bob Roberts, Documentary Now, Fear of a Black Hat, This is Spinal Tap, Drop Dead Gorgeous. I watched 7 Days in Hell, which I thought was really cute, and I don't know if that's what they were going for, but that's what I got out of it. I also watched I'm Still Here, which I did not think I was going to like, because when Joaquin was doing it, it seemed very like Andy Kaufman-esque, and I don't particularly care for Andy Kaufman's type of humor, which is also why I've never watched any of the, like, Bruno films or whatever, because I don't know why, I just don't like that kind of humor. It's just me. Watch it. I don't give a shit. But I really liked I'm Still Here. I thought it was fucking great. I've actually watched it a couple times since then, but it's really good. And then I watched David Holzman's Diary, which, as you know, got lots of accolades. So I tried, guys. I tried to like it, but I didn't get it, okay? I didn't get why it was considered to be a mockumentary, because honestly, it just seemed like an exercise in pure narcissism. Like, it was like watching an hour and 20 minutes of what I imagine everyone in film to be like. But the images of the 60s were really cool to look at. And there's this quasi-charming scene with a chick in a car. So, you know, check it out if you want, just for posterity's sake. But I had a really hard time getting through it. I fully admit that. Next, we have Jackie's Back, about a 70s pop diva and her comeback of a lifetime. This mockumentary skewers the music business and showbiz docs. There are a ton of celebrity cameos in this film, and while it does go off the rails for a bit, it manages to pull itself right back in, and it makes it worth the watch.
Is she making another comeback? This child makes more comebacks than anybody I have ever known in my life. All right, if she wants to make another comeback, that's fine. Come back? She was there someplace to come back to. Because getting there and not getting there and then trying to come back from nowhere is a little hard.
Roller junkies. Rival high school roller skate gangs face off in Hollywood and Venice Beach. And I tried to watch this. And I got about 2 minutes in until some chick said that she was an influencer, and then I was out. You, your brain, and you. From the ordinary to the extraordinary, this episodic mockumentary looks at how the Brain Institute has helped 81 people enhance their brain power. And how do I explain this? Because I really wanted to like this. I thought this mockumentary would be like right up my alley. It's like cerebrally stupid? I don't know. Cook Off. This mockumentary follows amateur chefs from around the country competing for a $1 million prize in the ultimate food fight. Wendy McLeodon-Covey of Reno 911 fame and Melissa McCarthy star in it. Both characters are simply tremendous. It's silly, stupid, and very Kathy Mitchell dumb cake. Fridge is another one I thought I'd really like, as it's about a conflict between roommates involving a fridge that, like, spirals out of control. And when I was in college, I lived with, like, my best friend at the time and these two guys. And this one guy was dating a girl, and she would sleep over a lot. And one day, we went into the kitchen, and there were Post-it notes on, like, the drawers and on the cupboards saying, you know, knives, forks, spoons, cups, plates. And my roommate and I thought, what an insulting asshole. Like, what does he think? His fucking girlfriend is, like, retarded and, like, she can't figure out where shit goes in the kitchen? It's not that hard. So we took the Post-it notes and literally labeled everything. The couch, the wall, the light switch, the floor, chairs, everything in the fucking apartment. So I really thought, you know, I would like this movie Fridge. However, my story is far more entertaining than that one, and that ain't saying much. Sure Shot Dombrowski is about a hockey player's rise to fame-filled glory and his descent into obscurity when he retires and loses his roofing business. And I got through about 20 minutes, what can I say? When the Screaming Starts is a darkly comedic mockumentary where a documentarian thinks he's found a career-making subject when he profiles an aspiring serial killer. It practically has everything that I love: dark comedy and murder.
You've got to think the details through, like clothing. What you wear sends out a message. To IRA? You don't want people thinking you're a terrorist when really you're a serial killer with no political affiliation.
Ted Bundy was a very sharp dresser. Good looking, too. Aiden can at least dress well.
We were never allowed a dog. Mother's allergies. We had to have an outside pet. I had a pony. A cliche, I know. I killed it.
Not a fan of ponies, then?
No, I love them. I hate cliches.
That's the Idea Man is a mockumentary that follows one of the most prolific inventors of our time and his latest attempt at creating the ultimate exercise machine. And while it lags a bit, it's worth the watch, even just for this.
Was you worried about Gary being hurt?
Yes. I was always afraid of Gary dying. But how do you stop someone from doing what they love? Even if what they love is stupid. Stupid. Very stupid. But you love them, so you just embrace it and hope for the best.
The St. Bernard Syndicate is a mockumentary that follows two down-on-their-luck European men who develop a pyramid scheme to sell St. Bernard dogs to Chinese families. It's like a cross between a British mockumentary and Lost in Translation. I recommend. Youth Ministry, a mockumentary. An idealistic youth pastor has his hands full when his goal to win competitions at Bible camp is disrupted by teen rebellion and a new co-worker. I like this much more than I thought I would, particularly because of scenes like this.
Thomas pants Stephen from the front. Who pants anyone from the front?
Thomas is gay. Thomas is gay. Oh my God.
Last year I pants Pastor D and he was super mad. He didn't let me do any of the games on the second day.
Thomas is gay. He is my first gay student. I'm ready for it. Wow, it was just so far, so fast, and yeah, wow. I mean, I'm not surprised, honestly. Just going for it.
And finally, Tally's wedding diary. When her boyfriend proposes, budding influencer Tally has her phone in hand to share every moment with her followers in this zany mockumentary series. Think like influencers in the wild with a lot of slapstick. And scenes like this.
No, I mean, this is what irritates me. How many homeless people am I confronted with every single day? Like a million. Literally a million. Now, I've got a beautiful piece of fish. I can't finish it because I was feeling bilious at the restaurant. And not one homeless person. Not one. So irritating. Where are the homeless when you need them? Wait, is that a homeless person? I don't know. No, just waiting for the bus. Oh, wait. Oh, no, that's a hipster. There's a guy. Excuse me. Hello. Yeah, how's it? Do you want this? There you go. It's teriyaki salmon. Oh, he looks so grateful.
So nice.
They probably made his day, babe.
And here we are again at the end of another episode. It's always such bittersweet sorrow to leave you guys. I'm so glad we had this time together, just to have a laugh or sing a song. Seems like we just get started, and before you know it, comes the time we have to say so long. You know, sometimes I finish an episode and I think, kid, you did a good job. Sometimes I feel like this.
I don't fucking know. I just fucking made my mouth, man. I said I'd never go back to acting, and now I can't. Now I don't have this, and the fucking music sucks. I didn't even fucking know it. I'm so stupid. Oh, bullshit, dude. It fucking sucks. I'm just gonna be a goddamn joke forever. I can't believe it. Why'd I do that? Why'd I do that? I fucked my fucking life, man. I fucked my life. Shit.
How do I feel about this one? I'll let you guys decide. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and I look forward to imagining you and I together in the clubhouse next time on Chatting Tonight.